Hey folks, it's Teresa from Stringfield Ridge Farm. Tonight I'm starting some bone broth, and I'm going to show you how I get that started, and then I'm going to cook it in this crock pot overnight. You can cook it for 24 hours up to 48 hours. Before I have done it about 12 hours. Last year I done some chicken bone broth. I made chicken soup out of it. I made some chicken broth that I put up for just chicken broth and canned that. And then I made bone broth out of the carcass that was left over. This time I went and bought some bones because I wanted to do a real beef bone broth. And so I went and bought these, they are just marrow bones. And so I bought some of those for the beef. And what you have to do with the beef and the pork is brown them first. So that's what I'm fixing to do, is get those put in the oven and get them browned good first. And also, you can use, a lot of people use like carrots, onions, celery, parsley, herbs and spices, things. There's lots of different things that you can use. So if you want to see all that, just go check that out. Just search online and see what all you can use. I am on a low carb diet, so I'm not going to use any extra stuff except celery and onion. I'm going to use some celery and onion and maybe some spices. I probably will use the parsley because I have all that flat leaf parsley that I grew this year. I do have some really good sea salt that has thyme in it, so I'm going to use some of that, so that'll have the thyme and the sea salt. And but first thing I need to do is brown these bones. And I'm also going to tell you a little bit about why it's good to use bone broth. Over this past year, I've learned even more health benefits of the bone broth. It's really good on this low carb diet. So I'll tell you a few of those benefits. Bone broth has a lot of key amino acids that our body needs, and is good for gut health and brain health and just overall health. It's great for your health. Gut health, that's one of the things that I really want to do it for, is for the gut health. Over 19, I'm reading this now because I can't remember all of this in my head, so I'm going to read this to you. It has over 19 easy to absorb essential and non-essential amino acids. It has collagen, gelatin, which helps form connective tissue, nutrients that support digestive functions, immunity, and brain health. So, there's just a few of the good reasons. And from what I understand, it's great for this diet I'm on. Beef bone broth is the richest and most nutrient-packed of the bone broths. So that's why I've decided to do beef this time instead of the others. There's just all kinds of information. I got a little book I picked up here from the health food store that I go to, and it's by Dr. Josh Axe, and it's called Bone Broth Breakthrough. And I picked this up recently and started looking through it and was like, yeah, I need to do that again. Protects joints, good for the gut, maintains healthy skin, supports immune function, boosts detoxification, aids the metabolism. So there you go. Help you lose weight. So anyway, this book tells you how to make a really good bone broth. And so I picked that up. It was free. This was just a little freebie at the health food store I go to. So there you go. This is beef marrow bones. And I'm going to open up these packs. And I'm going to put them on my pan down here. And put that in the oven on a high setting for 15 to 20 minutes till they kind of start browning. Okay, so I got those packages open. There's the bones there. And there's a little bit of meat on here, not a whole lot, but they have the marrow all inside of them, and that's probably the important part. I'm going to salt and pepper these good. And you can put your vegetables on here and roast those too, but I'm not going to do that. This is the salt I was talking about. It is a sea salt with thyme and lemon in it. So this is really good on eggs. Lee doesn't like it, so I don't use it a whole lot, but it is good on eggs. And I will probably also use garlic in this because I love, love, love garlic, and garlic is really good for you. So I will put probably quite a bit of garlic in this. So, okay, these are salt and peppered. I'm fixing to put these in a 400-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes, just depending on how they brown. So then we'll be back. Another thing with the bone broth is that you can use it in lots of other recipes. And this book that I got has all kinds of different recipes and soups and things that you can use the bone broth in, even smoothies. But personally, I just like to drink it by itself. I just like to sip on it in a mug and drink it. So I probably won't do any of these. Just personal preference. There's all kinds of recipes in this little book, though, that have, let's go try to find one. There's some soups and the smoothies. Here's one that they even made a dessert with the bone broth. And it is almond cacao bars. That's pretty interesting. But like I said, I enjoy it. There's all kinds of desserts in here with the bone broth. But like I said, I enjoy just sipping on it in a mug. So that's probably the way I'll use it. And you can refrigerate it for 5 days, I think. I'll have to look. I think you can refrigerate it for like 5 days. And then you can keep it in the freezer for several months. But I plan to can some. So that's what I want to do with mine, is can some. It says, okay, so you can use within a week or freeze for up to 3 months. But I am going to can mine. So, and then it will last a long time. And that's what I did before with the chicken broth, was that I canned it. I'll can it in pints, and then I'll just get a pint out every so often and drink some of it in a mug, and if I have any left, put it in the refrigerator then for a few days. While those bones are browning, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my celery and onions, and I've cut some of my onions up here. I'm not going to cut these real small because if you're going to can it, you will have to strain all the big stuff out. So I'm not going to chop these onions up real small since I'm going to strain that out. And so I'm just kind of cutting them up in chunky size bunches, you know, and throw them in my crock pot. Okay, my onions have me crying. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these in my crock pot here and start getting all my ingredients in there. Woo, Lordy. Woo. Woo, the onion's strong. Yeah. And then my celery, I gotta wash up my celery. And I'm gonna do the same thing with it. I'm not gonna cut it real small. Now I would just do small sticks. And I'm gonna put the whole thing in there, leaves and all. The green leaves and everything going in there. And then I will put some garlic and probably some more of that thyme salt and some bay leaves. And one of the most important things to put in it is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, because that draws out some of the nutrients and things out of that bone. So you want to be sure and put 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in your water. Okay, I'm fixing to put my apple cider vinegar in there, and I'm putting some parsley that I dried, and you could use fresh or whatever you have. A lot of my parsley has all seeded out, and it doesn't have a whole lot of big leaves on it anymore. So I had dried a whole bunch, and I'm going to use, but I wanted to use some of that. But I wanted to show you my little tins I made. I made these years ago, so they've kind of turned a little. But I made little tins and made my own little labels. And the little label on top. And I have a whole bunch of these with different herb names on them. It says, from Teresa's Herb Garden, parsley. And I'm fixing to grab those bones. Okay. Here we go. They've browned a little bit. Not a whole lot, just browned a little, and that's about right. And the marrow is kind of bubbly and soft, and that's about how you want it. And now I've got to get these put over into this pan. I hope I don't have too much water in there. And I was trying to get as much water in as I could so I could have plenty. So I filled that sucker up. So you're gonna simmer this for at least 12 hours on just a simmer. That's why I've got it in the crock pot. But you could do it on the stove in a pot, and just turn it down low and let it simmer for 12 hours at least. But they suggest 24 to 48 even. Let's see what I've got. I'm gonna dip these bones in here, and then I'm gonna pour all that juice in there also. Okay, I had to take a little bit of that water out. I had it too full, and you need to make sure it's not too full, because you've got to allow for the simmering. It may bubble just a little, and you don't want it to bubble out. And then, of course, putting this in there, you don't want to spill it out. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and put all of that juice in there. Ready to go, and I'm going to cover that up. And I'm just going to let that simmer all night and have it go at least 18 hours or so. Okay, so this bone broth has been going for like 18 hours. I'm going to start getting some of these vegetables out of here. This is the onions and celery that I had put in there. I'm getting those out. I want to get these out so I can start straining that and getting that, when it starts cooling, I will scoop that fat off of the top of it that settles on the top of it. So that's what I'm doing with this right now, is getting the vegetables out, and then I'll get the bones out, and then I'll let it cool enough to get the fat off of the top. Okay, so I sat this crock pot in the refrigerator and got that cooled down really good, and I'm gonna scoop off some of that fat off of the very top of this, and then this will be done. Then all I have to do is can that, but it has gotten a little late on me, so for tonight I'm gonna have to put this back in the refrigerator and can it tomorrow when I get off work. One last little thing I want to show you that I've done is I've taken these bones that I got out of there and put them in a baggie, and I'm going to put those in the freezer and give those to the dogs every once in a while.